Good morning. I'm glad that you got a chance to watch those videos and you responded. And we can move on here. You say you're willing to change and highly motivated, but you don't see how that's going to happen and you don't understand it. That's fine. That's why I'm here to help you, because I know you don't see it. If you had seen it, you would have already done it. So I understand that. No problem. The fact that you're willing and highly motivated to change and understand a need for the change is the most important thing. So we can go on from here. There's a few things that I'm not completely convinced, not completely understanding. You say that you're relatively attractive, but you're just not a conversationalist, and you relate very differently to others. And I am also, I relate very differently to others. If I were to go out to a bar, first off, I wouldn't go out to a bar very often. But if I had to, like, let's say, like, when you're out there playing the games that you play in the bar and whatnot, well, that'd be kind of like when I was in a band and I was playing in the bars. For about a year, I was in a band that played in bars because I just wanted to be in a band. I mean, I've been playing the drums for 25 years, and I just wanted to use my what I do in a practical sense. So, but I would go out there and I enjoy everything I was doing, 100%, playing the drums, being in there and everything, just like you're enjoying what you're doing. But there was nothing else for me in that bar because I was so disconnected from everybody else there. Now, I wasn't sad. I guess I was sad in a way, but not to the point of your sadness that you're experiencing. I was sad in a way because even though I was doing what I needed to do, I realized that the way I was doing it was so limited. Now, that's not to say, oh, tomorrow I'm going to find some other thing to be interested in besides drums. I'm going to find some way to develop myself besides what my interests are. I don't expect you to abandon what you like. It is unfortunate that what you like requires that forum to use, and that forum is so limited. You have to go and you got to drink beers. You got to go and you got to be with the guys that are watching the show, the ball game. You've got to go there because where else is pool unless you're independently wealthy and you have friends that come over and use your own pool table or whatever, or darts or whatever it is. But the thing is that these things are founded in those types of forums. It's unfortunate. Just like when I was playing the drums, I have to go to the bars. Why? Because, well, I'm not Van Halen. I can't go out to the theater, what do they call it? A great big stadium type thing. I'm not popular enough, so I can't do that. I haven't made my whole life about what I do. You're not on, I've seen on some of these sports channels, pool players that are out in Vegas or whatever in these grand tournaments. I don't know if you're that good or not, but that doesn't matter. What I'm saying is if you do get to that level, then you'd be elevated to new forums, and you wouldn't be forced to just do it for the love of the game. And you'd have all these other opportunities to you. But you don't have those opportunities, just like I don't have these opportunities. So what did I do? Okay? What did I do? Look at what I did now. I always like it when I have an example I can give you that I've already done, because therefore I'm not just telling you to do something and I wouldn't do it myself. I ripped myself out of that scenario. I took myself out of that band. I quit. I realized that it was limiting and it wasn't doing anything for me, and I was only going to be exposed to those types of forums. And I was going to constantly have that problem. Now, oh gosh, you're saying to yourself, oh, I can't do that. This is the one thing I love. Well, listen, I don't not like drumming now. I don't not like playing music now. I still do it, just not in that way. But I didn't rely on how well I would do what I did, how well I would find other places to do it when I pulled the rug out from underneath myself. I said, I've got to pull the rug out from underneath myself. Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing continuously, thinking you're going to have different results. You are literally doing the same thing over and over again, and even though you're longing for what you think and hope that it'll bring, it's not bringing it. My advice to you in the most practical sense right now is, don't ever go there again. Not to that specific place you're going. Now, I'm not going to say you got to throw it out. Start going to other places. Maybe the scenario is different. eventually you might say, no, it's not. And then you pull the rug out from underneath your feet. And if that happens, then we're going to talk about, well, how are you going to actually change? Why is that not going to matter that you've pulled the rug out from underneath your feet? How are you going to stand on the fact that you know nothing and that you're nowhere and build yourself back up? We're going to talk about that. You're not ready for that yet. But when we do that, you've got to be not clinging to these old things. This isn't probably a very good example, but if you were going to be going into rehab to get over drugs, you can't be using the drugs while you're in the rehab because you just continually perpetuate that cycle. So, it's very difficult for when you say the one thing you like is this, and then I say don't do it. That's going to be hard for you because I liked drumming, but what I did was I facilitated another way to do my interests, and so I was able to pull that rug out from underneath my feet when I needed to. It doesn't sound like you could be able to do that because you're saying there's nothing else that you're interested in. But you've got to do it. You've got to do this because it seems to me like from what I'm reading, from what you're sharing with me, that's where the source of your emptiness is coming from. It is not measuring up to what you'd like it to be, and it never will. The world's not going to change suddenly. Like these people who play the lottery, they think, oh, all I got to do is just keep hoping, and one day I'm going to win the lottery, and then everything's going to change. You keep hoping, you think, oh, one day it's all going to change. It's not going to change, okay? There are pockets in the world around the United States or in different places that you go where what you're looking for might exist more. And that's why I suggest if you're not strong enough to pull this carpet out from underneath your feet, go looking for them. Go see if there's another location that's more in tune with what you're looking for. But let me just go back to my example. My example is I didn't want to give up this band and playing in these bars because I wanted to keep doing my music. I was living in a house at that time that didn't have a place where I could play the drums at home. Now, all my life, or most of my life, for 25 years, I was able to play the drums at home. I moved into a house where I couldn't play the drums at home. So I had to be in the band in order to play the drums. Knowing that I was going to be living in this house and I couldn't get out of it, when I quit, I said, okay, if I can't play the drums, I'm going to develop a whole new area for myself, musically. Now, I had always played the drums because I thought I wasn't musically inclined. And I don't know if I'm right or not, but I said to myself, you know what? Whether I'm musically inclined or not, there's this part of me that at least rhythmly is inclined, that I started playing the drums. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start learning to play the piano. So I got an electric piano, which you can make the sound whatever you want it to be. It can be low, and it doesn't bother anybody in the house or anybody outside or whatever. And I said to myself, all right, I'm going to quit the band, and as much as I love drumming, I'm going to just say, I don't get to drum for a while, but I'm going to do something that fulfills some of those same things in me. I'm going to play the piano. And I'm going to use this period of time to suck as bad as I have to. And because even while I'm sucking, I'm getting fulfillment out of it. I'm wondering if you could find some other thing that you could be doing right now that gives you a sense of fulfillment that's not the thing you want it to be, but somehow on some sucky level, it'll give you some kind of fulfillment. Kind of like when you're smoking and you want to quit smoking, you get a nicotine patch. That's one particular way I've heard people try to stop. I'm wondering if you could find yourself a nicotine patch or something like that where you can look to something else for just temporary fulfillment. It doesn't have to be the type of fulfillment you ultimately want, but some type of temporary fulfillment. Like playing the piano, while you're rebuilding your life or allowing yourself the facilitation to go behind the scenes of the real world and start altering your mental perceptions of it so that you can enter back into it.